welcome to this video. My name is Emma and this is Lauresha, and we are both working for the Gaia-X Federation Services so-called GXFS project. In the next couple of videos, you will get a better understanding of our project and our key objectives.
One goal of Gaia-X is to organize participants in federations. To empower these federations and to make them operational, we are working on so-called GXFS toolbox. This toolbox will help to fulfill the main Gaia-X objectives, which are providing trust, interoperability, and ensuring that each data owner retains sovereignty over their data.
We are happy to introduce to you our key experts. They are all working with us in the project to implement the reference open source code for this toolbox. Today I have Dr. Julius Pfrommer with me. Julius is the head of research group Cyber-Physical Distributed Systems at Fraunhofer, and he is also leading the work package Federated catalog within the GXFS project. Welcome, Julius.
Hi, Emma. Good to see you.
So, maybe to start with, you are involved in the Gaia-X initiative already at an early stage, I believe. So what is your involvement in the initiative besides the GXFS project?
Right. So I joined the Gaia-X initiative back in 2019 when we were invited to join from industrial partners that were already participating. And since then, I've been participating in many different groups because over time, the Gaia-X has also evolved quite a bit and has become much more professional. And right now, I'm also heading a working group called for the catalog, which is also a good match with what I'm doing in the GXFS project. And right now, we are transitioning, and in the future, it will still be concerned with the life cycle of self-descriptions. But right now, we are still in a small reshuffle, but of course my overall topic and focus on the catalog will remain the same.
So as you're leading the work package Federated catalog, Julius, can you give us a better insight of what the catalog is about and why this service is needed?
Sure. So when participants, so providers that have a new cloud service, want to find customers, somehow the information needs to reach their customers. And you can either have that by doing advertisement or by having a sales department. But in Gaia-X, you can also do this by sending the information about your service to the catalog. And the catalog then aggregates service information and the description of data centers and infrastructure and makes that findable for users. They can then indicate search criteria, and in a non-discriminatory and objective way, they will then receive the list of possible offerings. And we not only look at individual service descriptions, but also we have a strong interlinking. So we know if where a service, for example, is deployed. Or this is an additional information that the service can have. Where is it deployed? And is this maybe in the European jurisdiction? Does the GDPR apply, etc.? And these then all become searchable criteria in the catalog for the users in Gaia-X.
What would you say, what makes the approach you use in your work package Federated catalog, what is the difference to currently widely used concepts?
Okay. One of the important aspects that we are focusing on is how we can establish trust. And there are many different systems where I can have a database and I can load some service description into the database and that's it. But in Gaia-X, we also have, for example, different levels of certification. So there are cloud certifications, and then also within Gaia-X, we are talking about having different levels of compliance, etc. And oftentimes, it is not enough to have the provider self-describing which certifications he has. And therefore, when we have trusted parties, these trusted parties, they can add signatures to the different service descriptions and infrastructure descriptions, and this can then automatically be used when somebody who is asking the catalog for a certain service to say, okay, which is the level of certainty and of assurance of certification that is required, and then by the processes and the technology, he knows that the answers he gets from the catalog fulfill these characteristics. And even if there is an unknown entity, like a cloud provider he has never interacted with, he has the assurance that these criteria are met. And that enables, for example, to have also much more flexible balancing of load to different providers, etc. Because things that required like manual and even by lawyers intervention to check the different contracts, some of these aspects can be automated with Gaia-X. And this is something that all the other technologies that we evaluated were not focusing on, didn't have this capability.
What would you say were the biggest challenges in the project and how did you face them?
So the GXFS is part of a wider scope. So we have the overall Gaia project, which is European, many different companies, many different countries, many different also cultures that come together. And in that framework, we have GXFS, which is doing like a deep dive technical specification for particular federation services. And when the project started, of course, we had the current state of the art in Gaia-X, which at the time was written down in the architecture document. And then we had like a concurrent continuation. So, of course, the Gaia-X architecture has improved since then. So we had the challenge to keep all the threads in sync.
Yeah, right.
So if there's a change on the Gaia-X side, do we need to make an adaptation in the catalog specification, or is it still compliant? And we tried to achieve that by having a strongly modular approach, where we know that if there's a change, it is contained somehow locally, and then we can exactly say, okay, these are the systems that need to change, and these are the systems that can stay exactly as they were.
What has been the main achievements in the project so far, especially looking at your work package, and what is coming up next in the next couple of months?
Right. So the biggest challenge or the goal that we have been working towards is having a specification to the point where it can be given to a company that does the implementation. And well, that's obviously a challenge because in such a specification you don't have much space for, well, free interpretation because the catalog is not something standalone. It will be integrated with the other federation services, and so the specification has to be up to a point where all the other teams know what they are working with even before the catalog exists. And so now we have a specification to that point, and also thanks to ECO and your support, we now have a company after a legal tender process that does the implementation. And so that was the goal that we've been working towards in the past time. And looking forward, what the biggest challenge will be, well, of course, now the implementation is ongoing and we have to supervise the implementation. But really to actually see where the catalog becomes effective, we also need companies who put self-descriptions into the catalog.
Yeah, right.
Who put description of their services and data centers, etc. in the catalog. And there we have like a network effect. So when all the services are already collected in the catalog and users are using the catalog, then the companies have an incentive to put the additional upcoming new services also into the catalog. When the catalog still has only a couple of entries, then we need to get over the first hurdle. And so we need to get a critical mass, have enough self-descriptions and usage of the catalog so that it becomes self-reinforcing. And then it will be easy. And then the users will be knocking on our door and asking for more features. But we have to get over this first hurdle. But of course, we have features in the catalog that nobody else provides. For example, this trust assurance that people can get from well, self-descriptions with a signature from a trusted third party.
That's right. So Julius, what is your call to the community out there and to our listeners? Why should they get involved if they are not yet involved in the initiative?
I'm a big fan of the European project. I like technology, creating technology, and I also like the system of market economies that we are living in. And with Gaia-X, we built the basic infrastructure to have a cloud market economy for the future. And well, we know that in certain areas you need to have a lot of investment to even enter into a market. So you need to have millions to build data centers. And with Gaia-X, we enable a cloud infrastructure where also startups and small participants can at first have a specialized offering, enter into the market, and then grow and participate. And for all of those who want to join into Gaia, well, the European project and the European sentiment is very strong there. It's very international. Also many different cultures that are interacting, and we try to build infrastructure that future generations can rely on.
Well, thank you so much, Julius, for joining me today and to give us some insights also from your perspective. And so stay tuned.